One of my favorite soups growing up was soup mang cua, which translated into English is asparagus crab soup. You're most likely to find it at a Vietnamese wedding reception, so my association with it is one of celebration, which is wildly hilarious because every one of these ingredients you can keep almost indefinitely in your pantry and pull out on a day you feel too lazy to really cook. If you can open a can, boil water, and crack an egg, you can make this soup. You will, at the minimum, need canned asparagus, preferably white, though green will also work, canned crab meat, but I'll be using frozen because I have it, white pepper, chicken bouillon, cornstarch, and eggs. You can optionally add canned bamboo shoots, baby corn, quail eggs, water chestnuts, and fish sauce, or anything your heart desires. You might be asking, why cans? Now, don't get me wrong, you can absolutely make this using the freshest ingredients available to you, but will it taste exponentially better for the increase in difficulty in making it? That's something you'll have to decide for yourself, obviously. But the more important question is, will every one of those ingredients be in season when you decide to make the soup? Will you have every ingredient picked at peak ripeness? Canned food is not inherently bad. Most of the ingredients that make canned food is picked at its highest quality. I will admit, you do have to take into account the sodium levels they're packed in, which is why I will be dumping the flavorless water of the quail eggs, the water chestnuts, the bamboo shoots, and the straw mushrooms. The liquid in the canned asparagus, however, is incredibly delicious and is one of the defining flavors of the soup, so I will be adding that directly into the pot. The liquid of the canned corn is also rich in flavor, so I'm also adding that. Rule of thumb is if the brine tastes bland, dump it out. If it's tasty, use it. Now add water and chicken bouillon. Be conservative with both for now. You can always add more water and more seasoning after you add the rest of your ingredients. This next step isn't exactly necessary, but it does make the soup a lot easier to eat, so any ingredient that's not bite-sized you're going to want to cut. I find that because everything is a lot softer with canned foods, that the best tool for the job is the humble kitchen shear. Every canned item is going to get dumped into the pot now, except for the quail eggs. In my case, that includes the frozen crab. Stir. Taste for seasoning now. And add in either more chicken bouillon or fish sauce if necessary. You'll notice that most of the ingredients have dropped to the bottom of the pot. The broth is too thin. We're going to fix that by making a cornstarch slurry. In a bowl, add cornstarch and water, and stir to combine. Into the pot. And stir again. You'll notice more ingredients will float, and the broth's texture becomes a lot more viscous. In that same bowl, you're going to crack your eggs and beat. When the soup comes up to at least a simmer, you can toss in your eggs and stir immediately. If you want to be more traditional, you use only the egg whites. But honestly, what are you planning on doing with the lone yolks anyways? Add in your white pepper and stir. Taste again for seasoning and adjust if necessary. Now, cut the heat. The last thing you're going to add is the quail eggs. This is because the quail eggs could easily overcook otherwise, turning hard and kind of tasting sulfuric. The soup should be hot enough to warm them through anyways. And that's it! You can serve it, as I am, with green onion for garnish, or you can just eat as is. Super easy, super quick, and super tasty. The time it takes to make this is literally as long as it takes the water to boil, and you'll have soup for days, which means you don't have to think about cooking, so it's great when you're feeling sick. You don't even have to use all of these ingredients. The main flavor profile comes from the asparagus and the crab, as implied by the name, the chicken bouillon, and the white pepper. Anything else is extra. Speaking of extras, as an extra bonus fact, the word mang in Vietnamese can be translated as bamboo shoots. If you want to be specific about asparagus, you say mang tây because tây means western. So asparagus in Vietnamese is western bamboo shoot, likely because the way they grow from the ground is similar to how bamboo shoots grow. Isn't that neat? And that is why I threw in some bamboo shoots into my soup mang cua, because I wanted to give a little nod to that fact. Another fun fact, white asparagus is white because it's grown underground or in complete darkness, and therefore does not develop chlorophyll. And with that, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next upload.